A lot of people are concerned about the rise of nationalism, but I think we should be very careful to separate the good side from the bad side of nationalism. Obviously, ultranationalism, which becomes fascism and which leads to war and genocide, is one of the worst phenomena in human history. But nationalism also has a very bright side. And, people imagine that without nationalism, we would all be living in some kind of liberal paradise. But much more likely, without nationalism, we would be living in tribal chaos. Because the big project of nationalism is to make a lot of strangers care about one another and be able to cooperate. I come from a relatively small nation, Israel. It has just 8 million citizens. But still, I don't know 99.99% of the other Israelis. I don't know them personally. I never met most of them. I'm unlikely to ever meet them. But nationalism makes it possible for me to care about these millions of strangers and to cooperate with them. And this has been one of the greatest advances in human history. And also, I don't think, one of the other problems that often people cite with nationalism is that nationalism is a barrier for cooperation on the international level. The President of the US just recently said that there is a contradiction between nationalism and globalism, and that people should choose nationalism and reject globalism. But I think this is a mistake. It's a very simplistic approach, because there is no contradiction between nationalism and globalism. Nationalism isn't about hating foreigners. Nationalism is about loving your compatriots. And in the 21st century, the only effective way to guarantee the prosperity and safety of your compatriots is to cooperate with foreigners, with other nations. So I think that today, good nationalists should also be globalists. In the 20th century, we had three big stories: fascism, communism, liberalism. Fascism collapsed, then communism collapsed, and now liberalism is in crisis. And there is yet nothing to replace it. The stories that try to fill the vacuum caused by the crisis of liberalism are mostly just nostalgic fantasies about going back to some golden past that never really existed, and that we can't go back there anyway. I'm not saying that liberalism is completely collapsing. Liberalism has managed to overcome several very serious crises before. It can do so again. But even if it is collapsing, so far we have no better alternative. There is yet no new story for the world in the 21st century. In the 1990s and early 2000s, people were convinced that this is the end of history, and liberalism has won, and from now onwards we are on a straight line when liberalism and democracy will just spread all over the world. And now we realize this was very naive. Something unexpected happened. History took a different turn. And it is very likely to happen again. If people now imagine that we'll just see the more and more spread of old-fashioned authoritarianism and extreme nationalism and maybe the re-emergence of fascism, maybe, but just as likely, history will take another unexpected turn, and nobody really knows how the world would look like in 20 or 30 years. I think the main message to people is that nothing is inevitable in history. You still have a lot of agency, a lot of power. If you want to see something happening in the world, you can try and help make it happen.